Ladies and gentlemen, hey, welcome Facebook Live once again on this lovely Tuesday. What is today, the 26th? 26th of January, 2021, where we're going to get it done. Speaking of getting it done, from the lovely Scottsdale office, we have real estate extraordinaire, as I call him, Neil the Real Deal Gatten.
Oh, that's me.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks
How's it
so
going,
much.
man?
Going wonderful, man. I'm loving it.
So,
We're having,
let's...
we're
You
having a
having what?
cloudy day here, buddy. And everybody in Arizona, when it clouds up, maybe the same in Vegas. If you have rain, if you have a cloudy day, it's like heaven for us. So
Yeah, it's amazing because my wife Tina's like that. She's from Vegas. And when it's rainy, she actually likes it. I'm from New England. When it's rainy, I don't like it.
no, it makes you down.
I've had plenty of that. All right, so you know what? I'm just going to tell them this because I remember it was just like yesterday. You were sitting to my right, middle
Yeah.
of Success Series, asking great questions. I could just tell by the questions you were asking and so forth that you were into it, you were thinking, and then look what's happened. You come out and now you're in the top, 3, 4, 5 of that office all the time. And that's a good office, Scottsdale.
10. But
All right, top 10. All right, come on. Well, come on. I'm the real deal. You
watch
gotta
the
be...
next couple months, so you're being much closer.
Exactly. So tell them a little about because you're obviously from Phoenix, and we have people from California and Nevada. So tell them a little about yourself, what you did before, which is interesting, how you got into real estate, and what you've been doing since you've been in for what now, 4 years?
4 years. And yeah, I might be the guy that some of you guys are in your third or fourth career and are you're bringing a lot of the things you learned in those other careers to real estate. And I think that's been a really fun piece of the puzzle for me. But I've been doing this it'll be 4 years in April.
Nice.
Before that, I worked, I was a banker at one point. At one point for several years, I was a pastor. And then for another chunk of time, I worked at a nonprofit helping give away some money to some amazing different charities and groups that we work with around the world. And in the middle of that process, I kind of thought, it'd be great. They're paying me money to go give away their money. It probably would be better for me to go give them money. So what kind of a job could I take on? And I thought, I love real estate. I've always wanted to be a realtor. Even when I was a little kid, I remember sitting at the table when my parents were selling a house with the realtor and wondering what this whole thing was about. And of course, that was back in 1952. No, I'm just kidding. That was like the 70s. But it was so interesting to see how that whole process worked. And I remember, we bought a house. I remember thinking, that is a lot of money. I think my parents paid $38,000 for this 2,500 square foot house. And we thought it was a mansion, when we moved into it. And so anyways, that's kind of what got me started. And so I've been doing this for a while. And yeah, RE Success really got me kickstarted and excited. So I have Rick to thank for a lot of that, and just the practical things we learned in there as well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, it's everybody hears it, but only few people apply it. And obviously, you've done a great job of that. And you have some other agents in your office that are pretty good at applying it too, which is great. It's good to have that,
Yeah.
Atmosphere of people being productive.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah,
Now,
that's one of the things I found about that office is I was really excited when I got there because so many people did want to collaborate. And, there's a lot of camaraderie. And even when you walk in there right now, even though there's just fewer people and there's still this sense of catching up and kind of family and also getting to share your journeys together and your stories, because nobody gets a real estate story like a realtor. So.
right. No, it's great. It's awesome. So tell me a little about what did you do last year? What's your goal this year as far as transaction numbers and involvement, however you track it?
Yeah, so you'll laugh at me. I mean, because Rick, all along, I'm not really a numbers guy. I just go by, I'd like to do better than last year. And so last year was not as great as the year before because in March, the first part of the year, I hit kind of a slow start. So I did about the same as the year before as I looked at the numbers, not quite the same. And then this year, I've got some great stuff going on that all started kind of in November. And this one listing I've had since May, but it's in PV, that we're finally closing. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. In a few weeks, and that one has afforded me the opportunity to meet a bunch of people in luxury. So my goal this year is to do more luxury properties. I've got one coming on the market next week that I think will probably sell very quickly. That's going to be about 1.2. That are old friends from my sphere of influence. And one of the things that I found last year, Rick, that when I hit that kind of slump in the early winter before COVID really hit everybody, and then May things got crazy, down here as far as the market goes. But one of the things I found was that I really just needed to continuously update and work on my sphere of influence, and
Yeah.
that's really where a lot of my people come from all the years of just kind of developing relationships. And I've got a lot of what do they call them? Gen Z clients that are buying houses right now. They're 30 years old and they're buying houses at prices we could have never imagined buying a house at 30 years old, Rick.
Yeah. Yeah, well, when we were that age, the interest rates were 12%, 14%. Now they're like
Oh yeah.
free, free.
Now they're getting free money. Just why don't you get a house? So that's fun though. It's been really fun, and they're great to shop with. Although a lot of the time they have a very perfectionist mindset to a house, and you kind of have to say, well, it was built in 1968. So.
Right.
But anyways, that journey.
I'm 4 years older than that house. I am.
Yeah,
Anyway.
right. Exactly.
Anyway, yeah, it's fun. It's fun because I see you do a lot of your posting with your clients and your customers, and they're
Mhm.
happy, and that's a really good part of it too. So you have used social media quite a bit, haven't you?
Yeah, I use Instagram and Facebook a lot just to kind of celebrate, and then I'll point out when I have open house. I'll point out because one thing that someone said in a class, out of all the many classes that we have, is
Yeah,
that you don't want the people in your life to forget that you're in real estate. And one way you do that is by making sure that your social media posts show that. And so I'll have people say, "Hey, it looks like you're killing it in real estate that I haven't seen. I don't even know that they follow me." And I'll be, "Yeah, it's going great. Is there anything I can do for you? Just remember me when you're ready." And they'll say, "We will." And it's just, it's been great. Yeah.
that's great. No, I love it. I love it too. And you mentioned your sphere. So would you say that your primary source and prospecting group is working your sphere?
Yep, I think so because they've wound up referring quite a few to me. And I think we forget that when we address our sphere, we're not just addressing them, we're addressing the people they love and trust. Not directly, but they're the ones that are calling us and saying, "Hey, I've got someone for you." Um, and that's really, I've got 3 or 4 of those waiting right now, but they're buyers, which is tough in this market.
Right.
Um, but right now, I think in our sphere, what I'm doing is I'm really just reminding them of how hot the market is here. If they're in this area, I'm just saying it is a great time to sell, and that's kind of where this one came up with the other day. They've had a realtor in their life they've loved for a long time, but they've been watching my marketing stuff come through, including my newsletter and everything that comes from the VAC, and but also just those individual emails saying, "Hey guys, just thinking of y'all. Here's what's going on. If you'd like to sell." And they called me in November and said, "Let's start pricing it. We'd like to move closer to our grandkids in Salt Lake City," which is another really hot market. But anyways, so that's kind of how that one came up, and this one came up through this house this is the second house I've sold for the clients that are in Paradise Valley right now, and they are just good friends with someone that's close to me, and that was how I wound up talking with them. So, anyways,
So it sounds like that's great. It sounds like you're working your sphere really good, and it sounds like you're digging deep to your sphere's sphere. Like who do you
Mhm.
help? Who'd like to get? You mentioned the VAC 2.0. Who else would you know that would be find this information valuable as far as our newsletters or our neighborhood fund? So it sounds like you've got the VAC 2.0 in high gear too.
I love our VAC 2.0. I'm just so thankful for that, and I know anybody that used the VAC probably thought it was great. And then all the updates that you guys have put in have been so helpful, and to be able to do those neighborhood watches and market reports and things like that have been awesome.
Yeah, that's you can think of. Well, actually, I was on the first couple of meetings with Gordon, Mark, Maria. That's they've done a really great job with that, and it's incredible. Could you imagine? I mean, you're really your job from a listing part of your job is to fill that pipeline with people on auto. When they start opening stuff up, it notifies you. It's an incredible.
Yep.
It's a incredible retention tool. It's an incredible prospecting tool. It keeps everybody informed. You can dig deeper to there. I mean, it's just a really incredible way to keep your business professional and everybody notified.
Yeah, and I think, Rick, honestly, if there's any agents out there that really haven't taken the time to dig into it and learn it, you're really missing out on something that's free to you that can make a huge difference in your business, in terms of, and my clients think it's, they think it's high tech and cool,
Yeah.
So.
Well, it is. It's actually customized to this, for our brand and everything too. That thing is customized. I think it's amazing what that guy's done, and he's going to continue to upgrade and add to it too, which I think is incredible.
I love it. It's great.
Love it. Okay, so give me a little idea. Okay, so you're going from, you want to up your business to more of a luxury brand type thing. So what are some of the things, because you have a lot of agents out there listening to this today, what are some of the ways you can do that? You can include the brand. I think would be a good way to do it because I think Berkshire Hathaway is synonymous with that upper end.
Definitely. And try and get a few listings that'll get you qualified for luxury collection. I really think that makes a difference.
You mean having that designation
and having it on your signs.
Tell them, because not everybody knows how to do that. Tell them how you got that. I think that's important.
So in Phoenix area, based on the area, the high priced homes, depending on whether it's in Phoenix or Paradise Valley or Scottsdale, we have thresholds, and if you're across that threshold, and you get I believe it's three, right, Rick, where you have 3 sales that go through that are above those thresholds, then you can apply to be luxury certified. And the way I did that was through our marketing person at our Arizona offices. And that back then was somewhat different, but we would do that in Arizona. You would go to Luna, or you can always ask Maria, because we all ask Maria a million things. But
True.
Right? Poor Maria. She's talked about fielding phone calls, and then once you get that, what'll happen is you fill out kind of an application. One of the things they'll ask you is, what are you reading to keep up on the market? So you could talk about the different magazines that we produce that you read and look at. You can talk about maybe something else. We have a magazine here, I think that goes between California and Arizona quite a bit, called Luxury Home Magazine. And they want to know that you're kind of keeping up on what the luxury market is doing. And also, through the VAC, you could join a global luxury chat group where you can just kind of watch what the listings are that come up on that. You could ask any question of those agents. So that's one thing. But anyways, then what happens is you get a certification back. It says you're luxury certified, and then you can start putting luxury collection on your signature. You can put it on. Use the signs that say luxury collection, and so that looks a little more. Nice. I mean, Berkshire Hathaway helps, but it's nice to have that you're a part of the luxury collection.
Absolutely, that's great, awesome. I love it. Okay, so all that stuff I think is critically important, and the education is good too. So what are some of the things that you do to work? Like, okay, so you want to get into that, and I'm assuming when you say luxury, you want to get into that listing luxury too. Yeah. So is there a couple of things that you focus on doing?
Yeah, so one of the things is developing, and this is kind of, you just got to risk it. But one of the things is developing some relationships with the people. If you've got a listing near you in a luxury area, try and develop relationships. So this one house, even though it's been on the market for a while, it's benefited me greatly because I've had several open houses and I've met lots of people in that price range that have said they want to look, or that where a team member and I have said, we'd love to come and help you sell your house. So we've got a couple of those kinds of things coming up, but that came through the open houses. But also through the open houses, you meet the neighbors. And it's important to meet the neighbors when you're in luxury neighborhood or something like that, because they're the ones that they know all the regular people that are in the luxury, the names that they always see on the signs, but they don't know you. But when they can meet you and meet your personality and see that you reach out and you care, you're going to wind up with some other listings in that neighborhood. So, for instance, at Christmas, I sent out holiday cards to all the people in this little housing development of 30 houses that are 6,000 plus square feet in Paradise Valley. But most of them I had met because they had been out walking at some point when I was putting out my signs, or they came to my open house and said, "Hi, I just never have seen the inside of this." So you're kind of, it's a slow process of developing relationship, I believe, is the way that I think. And I know it's going to work out because the people across the street to the right uh, told me, "Neil, you're going to sell our house, and we're just not ready to put it on the market yet. We're getting it set up and we're getting it ready, but we also need you to help us find a house." And they said the other day they came by to see me, and they said that they had a realtor call and say that she wanted to sell their house, and they said, "Don't call us anymore. We love our realtor." And he said, "I was talking about you." And I said, "Well, that is so nice. Thank you, Bill." But that all started through, them just coming to see the house right across the street. And in fact, they were going to buy that house at one point and decided not to because it was going to be too big ultimately. But that kind of a thing, I think, works out in terms of that. And then I think in terms of personal touches, and I know that I know that you know this too, just anytime you can write a note to neighbors and say, "I was thinking about you, I hope you're doing well." Like, there's a guy in the neighborhood that he was out doing physical therapy. He was walking to recover from something he had gone through. And so I just wrote him a note one day, and he like literally wrote back to me and said, "Thank you so much for thinking of me." He goes, "I am doing better." So stuff like that just comes up. It's not, it's organic. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So
That's
you're
one
developing
way.
relationship. Yeah, that's an awesome way, developing relationships, especially like you say, PV, Paradise Valley is a great neighborhood. I mean, it's a great area. Everybody
Well,
talks about PV.
it's such a great area, and and you know what? The truth is there are a lot of hotshot realtors in there, like TV shows, but
Yeah.
they're not walking around your neighborhood and saying hi to you.
Right.
They're not the guy at the open house who's willing to sit and listen to your stories about how you met each other and how you've been married for 40 years or whatever, right? Like, there's a different way to do real estate and be authentic. The man across the street from this one house I have, he has 7 cars in his garage. You know me, Rick. I'm a car nut. And
Yeah.
so one day he waved at me. He goes, "Come over here." I went over there. And he showed me all his cars and told me the stories. Like, if that guy wants to sell a house someday, he's got my card. You know, he's
You're his
gonna call
guy.
me because I fell in love with what he loves, right? Like,
Yeah.
so. Anyways,
Well, that's awesome. I love it. 7. What does he have? Like every all antiques and stuff.
no, really cool ones, Rick. Like fast ones. He has like he had all these. He had like a really classic, beautiful Porsche that was like probably worth a
So it's
ton.
like James Bond garage.
Oh yeah, and then he had a 70 El Camino that he had restored from the ground up. I know that, like, it was from when we were kids, But anyways,
Yeah. I had a 71 Mustang fastback 3-speed Hearst with a 302 Boss. Yeah.
what?
Yeah, I
How
did.
old were you?
I was probably 21 at that time.
That must have been trouble.
Yeah, it was fun. With it had the nostrils on the front and the stripes. It was a nice car. Yeah, I
That
got in
those
trouble.
are right now. That'd be like 300 grand.
Yeah, I know. But mine was in good shape then, but it probably wouldn't be that good now. All right. And how about the average sale prices since you've been in the business? All right. I mean, is that
Oh my
ridiculous?
gosh! And just the average per square foot in that particular part of town is 506
Yeah.
is the median. And that's just crazy. But it just depends. Scottsdale as well, and then Phoenix. I think the average sale price is 335 in Phoenix the other day I saw.
That's amazing. All right. So we
Yeah,
come to that time where I ask you my favorite question. So
yeah.
knowing what you know now, if you were to start this all over again, or if you're a seasoned agent who wants to take it to the next level, what's the 3 most important things you tell them about real estate?
Well, I think sphere of influence is, for me, sphere of influence, whatever you can pull and bring with you when you start in terms of, and when we say sphere of influence, we mean like your friends, your family, your neighbors, because I forget when I first started, I didn't know what that was, Rick. And then I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
know those people. I know what a
Yeah.
sphere of
Church
influence.
goers, your neighborhood, people that you used
Yep.
to work with, and all those people.
Yeah. And I think so. really making sure that they know you're in the business, but also making sure that they know you care, because they don't want to be. I don't know if you ever had this happen, Rick, but somebody would say, "Hey, let's go to lunch," and you hadn't heard from them for a long time, and then they'd talk to you and they'd tell you about their family and ask you about yours, and then they'd say, "I'm involved in this incredible business," and then what would you say?
Right. Oh,
Lunch is
Amway.
over.
Yeah.
And
Bye bye now.
so I think one of the things is to balance that. I would say to make sure that they don't just think you're about real estate, that they, and that's why you got to tell about your life a little bit and tell
Yeah.
about, and think about their lives. The whole COVID thing gave us opportunities to say things like, I know you're stuck at home right now. What are some things that you're doing to stay sane? Stuff like that. And to get the responses on that was great. So
That's great. Yeah, I call that commission breath. When they can tell that you're only about commission, they don't want to.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. So
Yeah.
that would be one. I think another thing is that I would say, Rick, and I know you stress this in your class. It's something that I have to remind myself all the time. A lot of us in this business are people pleasers, and some of the things I've had to learn is you can't take it personally.
Right.
That's so hard, especially because you're a guy that likes to do the phone calls, and that really works for you. And some people are really wired for that.
Yeah.
But some people, they could do that well, but they're scared that they're gonna get hurt. And I think you just can't take it personally. And recently, I had a situation where the biggest deal of my career so far, it fell apart on a Saturday morning. I was all happy go lucky that morning. I woke up, everything's great, and then you get that phone call, and you know what I had to do with myself, Rick, and I just think that you guys always talk about this, and Mark does too, and about staying kind of centered and making sure you're doing for your spirit. And this is what I did. I literally went like this with my hands, and I said, I can't change anything. The keys to this situation are not in either one of these hands. So why am I taking this on myself like I did something wrong? This is a matter of circumstance. This is what happens when you're dealing with people, and I couldn't rescue it, even all the ways I tried. And I just had to let it go and say it'll fix itself eventually. So that's another thing. I think just don't try not to take it personally. It's a rough business sometimes, and sometimes people are. I mean, they're stressed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Awesome.
they say it's what the first most stressful thing, other than getting married, is like selling or buying a home. I mean, think of it like.
Yeah. Well, or on the most stressful things that happen to you in life, it goes death, divorce, moving.
Move, right. And then I guess that's about it. Those are my two things, because you're probably running out of time. So
No. No, it's great. No, it's great. I really appreciate you taking your time out today. We are right at time. Do you have anything else you want to leave these wonderful people?
I just say keep being you. That's what, and enjoy it. Dig in and let people see your personality. That's a part of what makes a difference. People love when they're with someone authentic. And we live in a world that is so used to inauthentic people. And so you're going to win over some other realtors, and you're going to win maybe over that top dog because you're yourself. I believe it. And that's what I'm shooting for myself. So.
Right. Have their best interest in mind, be authentic, and that'll make up for any of the so-called shortcomings you think you may have. And a lot of us think we have way more than we actually do have.
That's right. And I would say that's another thing, Rick, that you kind of taught me. And I know this too as I go, but you don't have to say what you don't know. Just say what you can find out. Oh, that's a great question. I'll get back to you. And I learned that a lot, because at first, when you come out of real estate school, you don't know anything. I mean,
Right.
You need Berkshire Hathaway.
Yeah, thank you. No, okay, so last night, just you'll think this is funny. We have a real estate school in Nevada, right? So I speak at every one of the new schools. We have a day school and a night school. So I speak at I make at least one appearance and talk to them. And here's what I tell them. So you're going to, first off, everything I'm going to tell you, just listen to, but every minute you have, work at passing that test, because not everybody does. But once you pass that test, it only means one thing.
You pass the
You
test.
know enough to pass a test. That's all it means. It has nothing to do with selling.
It's so true. I mean, I came in and you guys just like shaped me and formed me, and I was so thankful. And And that's another thing I'd say is look for some mentors. Grab those agents in your office and don't be
Yeah.
afraid to develop relationships with agents who've been doing this. They like to teach. They like to invest in you. You're not going to take any business from them. They're not thinking of it that way,
They're
And
not.
one of my major mentors is Kathy Callner. And to this day, I call her once in a while. Rick, you'll laugh at this, but I call her and I go, all right, coach, talk me down,
Right.
So,
She's great. Yeah. The
yeah.
you and it's one of the things I noticed right away. When I was at Mike Ferry before I came here, and one of the things I noticed right away is the culture. Like you just said, you can ask somebody in the office to help you, and they will. And there's no judgment as far as, well, why don't you know this? They help you. It's a very
Yeah.
interesting environment, which is great for agents to be as productive as they can.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, my man. Well, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. Neil, the real deal. Keep it rocking, my friend.
Thanks, bud. Thanks so much.
All right, my man.
Take
Talk
care.
to you soon.
All right. See you, buddy.
Thanks, bud.